Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. Security Summit partners announce National Tax Security Awareness Week dates, urge increased security measures as fraudsters exploit COVID-19 concerns. IR 2020-259, November 19th, 2020, Washington. The Internal Revenue Service, state tax agencies, and the nation's tax industry today announced that the 5th annual National Tax Security Awareness Week will take place between November 30th and December 4th. This year, there's a heightened need for security as fraudsters seek to use the COVID-19 to scam taxpayers and tax preparers. New protections being offered by Security Summit partners in January can help protect people against tax-related identity theft. Quote, as the holiday season and tax season approaches, everyone should remember to take basic steps to protect themselves, end quote, said IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick. Quote, with more taxpayers and tax preparers working remotely, identity thieves are trying to use COVID-19 to scare and scam people out of their identities or money. All of us must be on guard and use the strongest security measures we can. The goal of National Tax Security Awareness Week is to remind people about important steps they can take to protect themselves and their tax information. So obviously the COVID-19 issue this year has heightened the ability for scammers to take advantage of a crisis type of situation. And so you want to be more unaware with this, and the IRS and impersonating the IRS or trying to scam people related to the IRS is often an attractive kind of approach for scammers due to the fact that the IRS is an intimidating agency and can be used for that purpose. And of course, you have the information regarding personal information that can be valuable as well. So back to the text, the IRS warned taxpayers to remain vigilant due to constantly evolving threats and scams from fraudsters. There are thousands of variations of COVID-related scams, including many related to the economic stimulus payment by the IRS. So obviously the economic stimulus payment is another area where the fraudsters, money's just being going out all the time with these economic impact payments. And that could be an area of potential fraud as well. So National Tax Security Awareness Week will feature a week-long series of educational materials to help protect individuals, businesses, and tax pros from identity theft. The effort will include special information, graphics, and social media efforts on Twitter, Instagram with hashtag or at IRS News and hashtag tax security. As part of the effort, the IRS and Security Summit partners are sharing YouTube videos on security steps for taxpayers. The videos can be viewed or downloaded at Easy Steps to Protect Your Computer and Phone. There's a link to that here. And Avoid Phishing Emails, and there's a link to that here as well. Employers also can share publication 4524 Security Awareness for Taxpayers. There's a link to that here with their employees and customers, while tax professionals can share with clients. The National Tax Security Awareness Week features basic security guidance for those most at risk: individual taxpayers, business taxpayers, and tax professionals. Highlights include Day 1, Cyber Monday. Protect personal and financial information online. The IRS and Security Summit partners remind people to take these basic steps. Use security software for computers and mobile phones and keep it updated. Avoid phishing scams, especially related to COVID-19 or economic impact payments. Use strong and unique passwords for all accounts. Use multi-factor authentication whenever possible. Shop only secure websites. Looks for the HTTPS as opposed to the HTTP, or the little padlock thing in the website if you're using Google. In web address and padlock icon. Avoid shopping on insecure and public Wi-Fi in places like shopping malls. Day 2, use multi-factor authentication. Remember to use multi-factor authentication, options being offered by tax software providers. All tax software providers are offering multi-factor authentication options on products for both taxpayers and tax professionals. So when you log into the tax software, you got the multi-factor authentication, which is becoming kind of a requirement. It looks like they're urging the tax software companies to put that in place, and you want to utilize that if they have that in place, because that's, another layer of security. So multi-factor authentication protects online accounts by requiring a second verification code in addition to your credentials, username, and password. This second feature may be a code sent to your mobile phone, for example. So they're going to send you, the text to the mobile phone, and then you got to put it in whatever they text you and whatnot. Two-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication provides a critical layer of protection for your online accounts. Day 3, get an identity protection PIN PIN. Starting in January, taxpayers who can verify their identities may now opt into the IRS IP PIN program. Here's what you need to know. The Identity Protection PIN or IPPIN is a 6-digit code known only to you and the IRS. It provides another layer of protection for taxpayers' social security numbers on tax returns. Use the Get an Identity Protection PIN IPPIN tool at irs.gov/IPPIN. There's a link to that here to see if the IPPIN is right for you and to immediately get an IPPIN. Never share your IPPIN with anyone but your trusted tax provider. Day 4, business at risk for identity theft. Most cyber attacks are aimed at small businesses with fewer than 100 employees. Here are some details. Learn about best security practices for small businesses. So obviously the small businesses are such that you have that valuable information, including employee information, contact information, the business information, and they're not large enough for the fact that they may not have as many internal controls to safeguard against kind of problems. So that's kind of an area where you would think then that cyber criminals may be targeting in order to pick up that information where they might suspect that the internal controls may not yet be as high as they could be once a company gets larger and probably has been hit by some cyber crimes, and then realizes they need to increase the internal controls and have the money and the ability to do so once the scale gets higher. So back to the text. Learn about best security practices for small businesses. IRS protective masking of sensitive information on business transcripts starts December 13th. A business identity theft affidavit form 14039B is now available for all businesses to report theft to the IRS. Beware of various scams, especially the W-2 scam that attempts to steal employee income information. Check out the business section on IRS Identity Theft Central at irs.gov/identity theft. There's a link to that here. Day 5, tax professionals should review their safeguards. The IRS and the Summit partners urge tax pros to review the Taxes Security Together checklist, including deploy basic security measures, use multi-factor authentication to protect tax software accounts, create a virtual private network if working remotely. So obviously when you work remotely, that's going to create another factor that people can try to get to the information. So you want to set up a virtual private network. Create a written data security plan as required by law. Know about phishing and phone scams, especially related to fake clients, COVID-19, and economic impact payments. Create data security and data theft recovery plans.